Cold open. Dale Whitmore was 34 years old, divorced, and currently arguing with a self-checkout machine at a Piggly Wiggly in rural Alabama. He'd been a landscaper for 12 years, a volunteer firefighter for 6, and a man who once got lost in his own backyard during a fog. Unremarkable by any measure. That night a shimmer opened above his porch. A voice, polite, oddly bureaucratic, informed him that Earth had been selected for a cooperative resource evaluation contract, and that one human representative was needed for a short-term survey mission. Pays good? Dale asked, not looking up from his beer. Compensation is insubstantial. Cool, I'm in. No forms, no hesitation. Just a shrug like he'd agreed to help a neighbor move a couch. Warning scene. The recruiter, a Vevtasari coordinator, named Ashun Kell, reviewed Dale's file with visible concern. Mr. Whitmore, I must stress the destination classification. Surenth 9 is rated Omega class, 91% mission mortality among trained operatives, atmospheric toxicity, gravitational anomalies, apex predators exceeding 14 meters in length. Dale sipped his coffee. Sounds like my ex-wife's family reunion. Ashun blinked. Translator lagging half a second on the joke it clearly didn't understand. This is not comparable to a social gathering. Relax, I've survived worse. Had a raccoon in my attic for a month. Ashun set down the file, unimpressed by the confidence, mildly disturbed by the calm. Very well. Report to Deployment Base 7 at dawn. He paused at the door, voice dropping low. Don't blame me if you come back in a box. Dale just grinned. Noted, bring snacks. Squad introduction. Deployment Bay 7 looked like an airport terminal designed by beings who'd never seen an airport. Dale walked in wearing jeans, a flannel, and a thermos of gas station coffee, and found his squad already assembled. First was a Vorik Thane, a Drevelax warrior standing 9 feet tall, plated in chitinous, crimson armor that had survived actual weapons fire, 3 campaigns, 17 confirmed void kills, decorated with the cluster's highest combat honor. His 4 eyes tracked Dale up and down with something between confusion and pity. Next, Wamselamern, a Kithani biologist whose skin shimmered faintly bioluminescent blue, shifting color with her mood. She'd cataloged over 400 apex predator species across 19 death worlds, and survived a direct encounter with a grade 6 xenoparasite that had killed her entire prior team. She carried a satchel of containment vials like other people carried car keys. Third, Horospelang the Squat, 6-limbed engineer from a high-gravity world, whose exoskeletal joints let him lift 10 times his body weight. He'd single-handedly rebuilt a collapsed orbital station's life support in absolute vacuum, a feat that got him a medal and apparently chronic nightmares. Fourth, Ambassador Wraith Elon, a slender, translucent-skinned diplomat whose species could sense fluctuations in ambient fear pheromones, a built-in danger detector so sensitive it had once evacuated a colony 40 minutes before a volcanic eruption. No instrument had predicted. Then there was Dale. No armor plating, no bioluminescence, no exoskeleton. Just flannel, a thermos, and the vague smell of a lawnmower that never quite washed out. Vorik looked him over first. This is the specialist? Landscaper, Dale said, extending a hand nobody shook. Mostly do lawns. Little bit of tree work. Sella's skin flickered a curious shade of yellow. You have no augmentation. No survival record. No combat rating. I once wrestled a possum out of a trash can at 2 a.m. Silence. Dospel's joints whirred faintly as he processed this. Was the possum armed? Just teeth. And attitude. Wraith's pale skin pulsed once. The pheromone equivalent of raised eyebrows. Fascinating. He shows no elevated fear response despite mission briefing exposure. That's 'cause I haven't had my second coffee, Dale said, and sat down on his gear crate like it was a porch step. The squad exchanged a long look. This, apparently, was the specimen Command had assigned to the deadliest survey contract of the year. Comedy escalation loop. The atmosphere of Surenth 9, Vorik said, carries acidic particulates, capable of dissolving standard alloy. Plating within 6 hours. Dale nodded slowly. So humidity. It is corrosive vapor. Yeah, Alabama in August. Rust my truck every summer. The squad stared, unsettled. Sella pulled up a hollow of a creature with rows of serrated teeth. The Grethix Stalker hunts by detecting heat signatures through solid rock. Up to 2 kilometers. Sounds like my neighbor's dog when I grill. Sella's skin flashed red-orange, an alarm color. That is not remotely comparable. He finds me every time. Every single time. DOS projected a seismic reading. Zuranth 9 experiences ground liquefaction events without warning. Terrain becomes unstable mid-step. Louisiana swamp mud, Dale said. Lost a boot in that once. Left it there. Still there, probably. DOS's exoskeleton froze mid-motion. You abandoned equipment rather than retrieve it? Wasn't worth the fight. Wreath's pale skin pulsed rapidly. The planet's magnetic storms disable neural implants and can trigger cardiac arrest in sensitive species. Thunderstorm, Dale said. We just don't golf during those. You continue other outdoor activity during electrical bombardment? Just not golf. Everything else is fine. Vorik's voice dropped lower. There exists an apex predator on Zuranth 9 that has never been successfully engaged and survived. Designation, the Hollow Fang. The squad went quiet. Dale scratched his jaw. We got a gator by my cousin's pond that ate a lawn chair. Just don't leave your snacks out. This creature is 14 meters of armored muscle and razor bone. Yeah, that tracks. Don't leave your snacks out. Sella's voice was almost a whisper now. No recorded team has completed a full survey rotation on Zuranth 9. Every, prior expedition ended in total loss. Dale sipped his thermos unfazed. Well, guess we'll be the first then. The silence that followed wasn't disbelief anymore. It was something closer to dread for the planet. Arrival and world reveal. The drop pod hissed open onto a world the color of a bruise. Amber skies churned with drifting acid haze. Jagged black spires of crystalline rock jutted from a cracked, steaming landscape, and somewhere in the distance, something enormous exhaled a sound like grinding stone. Vorik's armor immediately began hissing, seals straining against the corrosive air. Sella's containment suit fogged, biosensors screaming warnings. DOS's exoskeleton joints locked and unlocked erratically, fighting the unstable ground already shifting beneath their boots. Wraith staggered, pale skin flushing a violent, panicked crimson, the fear pheromones of the entire planet hitting them at once, amplified through their species' unique sensitivity. Dale stepped out in his flannel, boots crunching on ash-gray soil, and squinted up at the amber sky like a man checking if it might rain on his cookout. Huh, he said. Smells like a swamp that caught fire. Your readings, Sella gasped, forcing words through her rebreather. Show 0 elevated stress markers. Should they be elevated? The air alone should be causing you respiratory distress. Dale shrugged, adjusting the strap on his gear bag. Grew up next to a paper mill. This is Tuesday. Vorik's armor let out a shrill overload warning, forcing him to vent a stabilizing gas just to keep his joints from seizing. He looked over at the unarmored, unaugmented human standing, calmly in the middle of an atmosphere, actively trying to dissolve his equipment. This, Vorik said slowly, should not be possible. Dale just cracked his neck and looked out at the horizon, where the crystalline spires caught the sick amber, light like broken glass in a ditch. So, he said, where do we set up camp? The acid rain. By midday, the sky cracked open and a hissing rain began. Sella's readings showed pH levels capable of stripping paint off starship hulls. The squad scrambled into reinforced shelter, sealing every gap with military precision, generators screaming under the load of neutralizing the runoff. Before it pooled near the camp. Dale watched them work for a minute, then walked outside, popped open a golf umbrella he'd packed just in case, and started digging a small drainage trench around the tents with a camp shovel. That is a fabric shield, Vorik said through the comm, aghast. It will dissolve. It's rated for hailstorms, Dale said, redirecting a stream of hissing rainwater into the trench, away from the gear. Same difference. Just gotta manage the runoff. By the time the storm passed, the camp was dry. The umbrella had a few new holes in it. Dale folded it up like nothing happened. The Grethix Stalker. The heat-tracking predator. Sella warned about found them at dusk. 8 feet of armored muscle, moving low and fast through the rock spires drawn by their body heat. Full combat protocol activated. Vorik armed his plasma lance. DOS deployed a thermal dampening field at massive power cost. Wraith screamed a pheromone alarm that sent the whole camp into defensive formation. Dale, mid-dinner, looked up, sighed, and banged his metal mess kit against a rock. loud, sharp, rhythmic. The creature froze, confused by the noise pattern disrupting its heat-tracking rhythm, then bolted into the dark. "You!" startled it away. "With cookware," Doss said, exoskeleton still trembling from the power drain. "Works on raccoons," Dale said, going back to his beans. Loud noise, they bail. Every time. Subject repels apex predator using improvised percussion. No weapon, no training protocol. My readings cannot reconcile this outcome with known biology. I am beginning to question what unremarkable means on his world. Ground liquefaction. The terrain shifted without warning, exactly as briefed, solid rock, turning to churning slurry mid-step. Voric's heavy frame began sinking fast, his armor's weight working against him. Doss deployed emergency grapple lines, burning through half his equipment reserves, hauling the warrior free. Dale, caught in the same collapsing ground, simply spread his arms and legs wide, lay back, and floated on the surface like he was at a lake. "You cannot swim in ground," Voric gasped, half submerged, half rescued. "It's just mud with attitude," Dale called back, drifting calmly toward solid rock. "You don't fight quicksand. You relax into it. My uncle taught me that catfishing." He climbed out 3 minutes later, muddy but unbothered, while the squad's equipment sparked and steamed from the emergency extraction. The Hollow Fang. It came at night, 14 meters of armored horror, exactly as described. Its roar shaking dust from the rock spires. The squad's full arsenal lit up the dark. Plasma fire, containment nets, wraiths pheromone jamming, field burning out from overuse trying to mask their fear from the beast's senses. Nothing worked. The Hollow Fang kept coming. Dale grabbed a bucket of leftover camp grease, walked 20 feet forward and ignoring Voric's shouted warning, and dumped it. Across a wide stretch of loose gravel directly in the creature's path. The Hollow Fang's massive foot hit the slick patch mid-charge and it went down hard, sliding sideways into a rock spire with a crash that echoed for miles. Dazed, it scrambled up and fled into the dark, tail between its legs. Total silence at camp. Even the wind seemed to pause. "You," Wraith said, voice trembling. Pheromones flickering a color the translator didn't have a word for. Defeated the undefeated predator. With cooking grease. Dale shrugged, already walking back to camp. Ice on a driveway. Nobody walks right on ice. Works the same on anything with feet. Status flip. Something had changed. Voric no longer walked ahead of Dale to clear the path. Now he watched Dale's pace and adjusted his own. Sella stopped double-checking his vitals every hour, just glancing over out of habit. Doss started asking Dale's opinion before deploying gear, not after. Nobody said it directly, but the shift was there in the small things. The way they waited for his read on a situation. The way Wraith's fear pheromones calmed just from him being nearby. Like his presence itself was a kind of shelter. "You are not what our records classify as weak," Voric said one evening, watching Dale patch a torn tent with duct tape in quiet confidence. "You are simply calibrated differently." Dale just handed him a roll of tape. "Fix your armor seal with this." "Works on everything." Voric took it like it was sacred. Cliffhanger close. Sella's scanner picked up something new. A massive biosignature, deep beneath the crystalline spires, far larger than the Hollow Fang, pulsing with a rhythm that matched nothing in any database. The ground itself seemed to hum with it. "That's not on any survey record," Sella whispered, her skin flashing a color none of them had seen before. This shouldn't exist." Wraith doubled over, pheromones spiking violently. "Whatever it is, it knows we're here. It's been watching." The humming grew louder. Distant rock spires began to crack and shift, something enormous stirring far below the surface, patient and old and hungry. Dale set down his coffee, looked toward the horizon where the ground was starting to ripple, and tilted his head with mild curiosity. No fear, just interest. The same look he gave a strange noise coming from under his porch back home.
"Huh," he said quietly.
"Wonder what that wants." The camp went dark as the humming reached a fever pitch.